The one word I would use to describe WVSOM is, I know it's probably cliche, but heaven. Really, I thought every moment, as tough as it was, as hard as it was, I loved every moment. I loved every moment of being here. I loved everything. The snow when it snowed, the spring, when everything blossomed. The Greenbrier Valley is just absolutely beautiful. Gwen's kitchen when it was there. I mean, the anatomy lab that was in the basement that when you came out, you had to go home and take a shower because you smelled like cadavers. But I really don't know that I can say there was a bad moment for me there. And a lot of us were non-traditional students, and we had kids, so there were, we weren't like bar hopping. There was, number one, you couldn't do that anyway because you were studying all the time. But I remember my son was like 3.5, 4 years old, and we took a bone box home, and I would study those bones every night. And God bless him, he knew the bones better than I did, all the parts of the bones, and I can't say there were any bad moments, and it would be hard to pick out the good moments because they were just all so good. I was having trouble with biochemistry. Dr. Davis and Dr. Mashburn had lunch with me every day to tutor me. The anatomists, including Dr. Nimitz, who obviously is now our president, but they would come down to the lab and just walk around and ask who has any questions. Is somebody having a problem with something? The physiology group would come through the library and the study rooms and does anybody need anything? Is anybody having a problem with anything? And to me that was just, I think that's why I said heaven, and I love this place so much. WVSOM was family. It wasn't, it by no means was a school, it was family. And everybody helped everybody else to get through. We were second years there, or I was a second year there, and the senior class came in. And if you're familiar with the campus now, the 2 bronze cannons are located up by Alumni Building. And I remember studying, and it was late. I mean, I bet you it was 1 o'clock in the morning or something too. And all of a sudden, these 2 huge booms go off. And you're like, what the hell? Luckily, I was at the back of the school, not the front of the school. And what had happened is they had just had the reenactment, the Civil War reenactment of the Battle of Lewisburg, and somebody picked up a bunch of black powder, and they stuffed those they loaded those cannons up, and they stuffed them with paper and other stuff, and they let them off. I mean, windows were broke in the homes nearby. And right away, the talk was the city wanted the cannons destroyed or filled or something like that. And I remember I was there at that meeting, and Dr. Chambers was there, and he said, "You realize these are antiques, these are relics." And I said, "Yeah, you can't fill them up with cement. That's a crime." So most people don't know this. There's just a wooden plug in those. Yeah. We put a wooden plug to save the integrity of the cannons, but yeah, I just, boom, it was crazy. Yeah, we were the last time they tried to close WVSOM, and there were a lot of bad things being said by the presidents of the medical schools and other places, but not Lewisburg. Dr. Jones did not get into that verbal jousting, if you will. So Governor Caperton censured them all, told them no one was allowed to speak about anything coming from the administrations. And 2 things happened. One was they called and said everything, because I was the SGA president, everything that came from the school had to come through me. And number 2, by the way, you didn't hear this, but we're meeting tonight at 10 o'clock at Dr. Jones' house. Park on the street and walk through the back door in the basement, and we're going to meet there. And we had clandestine meetings to help plan what we were going to do to save the school. Dr. Jones was there, and Dr. Stuckey was there, and the deans were there. There were probably 10 of us there, and I was the only student here because supposedly everything was supposed to come through me, but it was wintertime and there was snow on the ground, it was cold, and they had a rally at Carnegie Hall in downtown Lewisburg. And that was when I found out that everybody had been shut down, because I got a call, and I believe, it was, I can't tell you who this is, but I believe it was John Manchester at that time. He said, you have to answer everything for the school until the governor rescinds those orders. And he said, you have to be at Carnegie Hall tonight for this rally. And I had planned on studying, but I said, well, I guess I'm going to Carnegie Hall now. And he said, don't worry, you don't have to say anything, just sit on stage. I'm sitting on the stage with state representatives, the then mayor, and other people that were trying to give support for WVSOM. And the mayor gets up and he goes, now we're going to have a few words from the Student Government Association president. And he called me to the microphone, and I was like, oh. So I got up there, and I just sat and looked, and I said, this is the best medical school in the world. I said, and we're not going to let it close. I said, and my son then was 3. I said, I want my son and daughter, if they want to come here, to have that opportunity. And I said, in 4 years from now, this school will be here, but I said, Gaston Caperton will not be in the governor's office. And the whole place cheered, and they stood up. And so I tell people that, yes, I had a standing ovation at Carnegie Hall. I spent 15 years working in a steel mill and decided this is what I wanted to do. The fact that I went home every night and said, gee, what did I do to help the world? For the years since I graduated and had my practice, and I never had that question anymore. I knew that I did something good for somebody, somewhere. And that's not it. That's not something a lot of professions can give you. WVSOM gave me the opportunity to build a life for not only myself, but my family. Thank WVSOM. Like I said, I would not be where I am if it weren't for them.